Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Germany once again, and this is yet another one of the craft beers that I brought back with me from my recent trip over to Munich. For this one however we're going to go up to Berlin, and I believe this is the first craft beer I'm reviewing for you from Berlin. I've reviewed a couple of beers of the bigger breweries from Berlin, but never one of the little craft breweries. So for this one we're going to go to Berg Brauerei, basically the Berlin Mountain Brewery, and we're having a taste of their double IPA. So this one comes in at 7.5%, and apparently it's hopped with Azaka and Zythos hops, so it should have some really nice kind of tangerine notes and then a little bit of tropical fruit as well. But I'm really excited for this one. As I say, I think this is my first craft beer that I'm reviewing for you from Berlin. I've done a few from the bigger breweries, but never one of the little craft breweries, so it should be a really interesting one for us to review. Also, a shout out to my friend Peter over at the Clueless Drinker. He lives in Regensburg and he reviews a lot of the classic German beers as well as these new craft ones that are popping up. I'm actually quite jealous of him that he gets to live in Germany when this is going on, because there's been a kind of craft beer boom over there recently, in addition to of course the really good traditional beers that they've got. So do make sure you check out his channel, and I'll put the link to it in the description for you below. But this one should be a really interesting beer, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on it. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. The brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Berliner Berg Brauerei. This is the very first time I'm trying one of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the German beers that I've reviewed for you before, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the channel, and the support that you give me is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Berliner Berg then. So Berliner Berg Brauerei was founded back in 2015 by Uli Erxleben, Finn Hensel and also Robin Weber, and the three apparently met through their careers in e-commerce, but they'd worked internationally and they were big beer enthusiasts. Some of them had worked in Australia, some of them in California, and they'd just been all over the world and really developed a love of local beer. But they thought about opening a beer bar or brewing for themselves, but they decided to settle on the latter. So they hired their first brewmaster, who was Rich Hodges, who had decided to leave Crew Republic down in Munich, and he had trained both at the Weihenstephan Institute and also at the Domens Institute as well. Very, very prestigious brewing schools, and it just so happened that when these guys were starting up, he had decided that he wanted to leave Crew Republic, so it worked out very, very well for them. But Robin came up with the name Berliner Berg after speaking to his mum, who reminded him that breweries traditionally set up on the mountains in Germany, so this was why they took the name the Berlin Mountain Brewery basically. But the brewery is located in Kopfstrasse near Tempelhoferfeld in the Neukölln district, which is in the southern part of the city, and it also has its on-site tap room as well. And they now have Michel Hengst as the managing director, and they do have a new brewmaster as well. So they're doing very, very well for themselves. I think they've got 5 or 6 different beers that they do regularly, and this one was actually one that was recommended to me by the guys at Biervana down in Munich when I was there. They gave me some really good recommendations for beers along with the guys at Getränke Osse as well. So 2 very, very good beer shops that you should check out if you find yourself in Munich. They've got some great beers there, and as I say, the exciting thing about the German pardon me, the German craft beer scene at the moment is that in addition to the kind of great traditional beers that Germany is known for, there's a lot of these really, really talented brewers starting to turn their eyes to the American beer styles and playing with things like this. So it's very, very exciting times in Germany, and as I said, my friend Peter at the Clueless Drinker can tell you a little bit more about that. So do make sure you check out his channel, and if you get the chance, try some of these German beers. And I think, as I said, these guys have produced about 6 or 7 different beers, and the brewery website is in the description for you below to have a little look at. So yeah, this one should be a really interesting one. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork again. From what I saw on the website, all the artwork that you'll see on the Berliner Berg beers is fairly similar. It's just a different colour depending on what beer it is you have. There you can see the Berliner Berg symbol on the top there. Looks like it's a squirrel just drinking out of the pint glass, of course. And you can see the nice bottle cap on this one too. Like I said, it's a 7.5% double IPA, and it's hopped with Azaka and Zythos hops, both from America. So this one should be a very, very interesting beer. I don't know if Peter's actually reviewed a beer from this brewery. I put it into his channel, and it wasn't up at the time that I'm filming this. By the time this review comes out though, he may have done one. But he's reviewed a lot of different beers from all over the place. I think the Ghost Brewery, Berliner, are meant to be a really good one. That's another brewery I've heard of from there that Peter goes on about. But yeah, Berlin seems to have a bit of a bustling craft beer scene. Brewdog have got a bar over there, although as I've mentioned, Brewdog do some very questionable things. There's also the Stone Brewery in Berlin as well. But just generally, Germany seems to be getting very, very high into, or very, very good at brewing these American beer styles, which isn't surprising. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice kind of bright orangey amber colour. If I hold it up to the light, I think it's fair to say it's a kind of blood orangey colour. It's coming across a little bit darker for you on the camera than it is for me in the light. There's a solid half finger of a frothy white head on this one, some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But it looks pretty much what you'd expect from an IPA or a double IPA. It's got a really, really nice colour to it, and just as you open the beer up, you can smell some of these lovely kind of tropical and citrusy fruits coming out of it. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on then. That smells really nice, actually. So yeah, with this one, to me it's mangoes that are coming out of this. There's a lot of juicy mango just underpinning this beer. Yeah, and on the top end you start to get some of the tangerines. The Azacca is going to give you a tangerine note, and then also some of these nice kind of juicy mangoes. And the Zythos, it gives you a little bit more of a kind of tropical complexity for me. There's a little bit of a kind of pineapple-y note coming out of this beer as well. There's maybe a little bit of an almost kind of papaya in there as well, I think. There's quite a bit of tropical fruit going on in this one, but there is a wee bit of that kind of lighter citrusy tangerine note. It's not oranges, I don't think. It's more of a tangerine character that's coming out of this one. It doesn't quite have the oily, the almost kind of oily note that you would expect from oranges. But it's actually quite a sweet nose. There's a good bit of caramel and kind of biscuity note coming off this one. You can pick up a wee bit of a kind of, there's a very slight kind of piney note or a floral aromatic note. I think to me it comes across in the nose as more of a sort of floral aromaticity rather than a piney note. Although pine was my first kind of instinct that I wanted to say from this. But really, in terms of the nose, this beer really leans towards the juicy kind of fruity side of the double IPAs, but you can smell underneath that there's a good bit of a boozy caramel note to it. There's a wee bit of a bready character as well, which is interesting. But it's quite a sweet smelling IPA, this one, both from the malty side of things and also from the kind of juicy fruits as well. But I do like how this beer comes across. I could sit and smell this one all day. I love tangerine notes. If you've watched the channel before, you'll know that I love the hops that give you the orangey notes. The Amarillo, the Pacifica from New Zealand, the Mosaic, of course you've got the Azacca as well, Mandarina Bavaria from Germany. I love these nice big kind of juicy orangey hops. So Azacca is one that's becoming quite popular in the last 2 years or so, and more breweries are playing with this. Zythos is one, of course, though, that's a little bit more foreign to me, but it's supposed to give you a nice kind of pineapple-y note, and you can pick up that a little bit in this beer. I'd love to make a single hop beer just with some Zythos in it, so that's maybe something I need to have a go at sometime. But it smells really nice. As I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you actually get stuck into it. That's half the experience when it comes to craft beer and whiskey and sake and stuff like that. But let's have a try of this beer then. So this one is the double IPA from the Berliner Berg Brauerei in Berlin. Let's get stuck in. Prost. That's pretty good. It's a really quite easy drinking beer, this one. In terms of IPAs, it does look a little bit hazy, but it definitely leans more towards the kind of the West Coast IPA style than anything else. And there's a good bit of nice hoppy bitterness to this one. The Azacca hop, of course, it kind of, if I'm remembering correctly, it has about 15 or 16% alpha acid, whereas the Zythos is a bit lower, it's somewhere between 10 and 12, if I'm remembering correctly. So you will get a good bit of hoppy bitterness out of this one. The Azacca, from what I remember, you can use it both as a bittering hop, but also as an aroma hop as well. And you're getting a good bit of both. This one does have a good bit of piney resin, and that's another thing you're going to get from the Azacca. It does have that kind of dark, sort of dank pine resin edge to it, and you can really pick that out on the edge of your palate here. It's definitely pine that's coming out of this one, rather than a spicy floral aromaticity. But yeah, that's a pretty damn good double IPA. When it's coming out of Germany, of course, and I think this beer was actually designed by Rich Hodges before he left Berliner Berg. You know, when he brewed for Crew Republic for a number of years, you do expect a good quality beer when it's him that's designed the recipe, and this one certainly is pretty damn good, I have to say. Yeah, that's nice. If you get the chance to try this, I do recommend that you do. It's a pretty straight up double IPA, but it's well crafted and it does the job, and it seems to be that that's what a lot of these German beers are. You can tell straight away that these are well crafted beers. They're not the most complex ones that you're going to come across. That might come with time, of course, as the Germans start to experiment with these styles a little bit more, but you can tell straight away they are very, very well done. So with this one then, in the middle of your palate where all the malts are going to be, you've got this nice kind of pale malty character that just goes right across the middle of your tongue. As you move further into the middle of the palate, you can get a little bit of that slightly boozy caramel, and then there's some sweet biscuit right down the middle of the palate there as well. The sweeter notes of the beer start to come out as you go further and further into the aftertaste. But it's quite nicely crafted, this beer, I have to say that about it. On the hoppy side of things, in the back corners of the palate you can pick up just a little bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you can pick up, there's a wee tiny little bit of herbal character there, but as you get right towards the front of the palate and the front corners, that's when you start to get this kind of dank, almost pine, it's definitely a pine resiny character rather than a floral aromaticity. It just has that slightly darker flavour than you'd expect if it was kind of a more floral note rather than a piney note. Sorry, I should say it has the darker qualities that you expect of pine, not of floral aromaticity, mixing it up there. But it's a nice beer, this. Around the front corners of the palate, it's got a nice little bit of a lighter kind of grassy note to it, but you can feel the pine resins even on the front curve of your palate just pushing their way out there, and that is quite unusual as well. There is a good bit of hoppy bitterness to this beer. I'm not sure what the IBUs are on it actually, but it's certainly one of the more bitter double IPAs, or even just regular IPAs that I've come across from Germany. So a thumbs up to Berliner Berg Brauerei for that. But it balances out quite well with that little bit of sweetness that the beer has. But yeah, with the fruitiness of this beer, as I always tell you, the fruity notes of the beer will come out in that little oily bubble just behind the front curve of the palate. And there, it's quite interesting. I think there's a little bit of a kind of grapefruity note just underpinning it. It's definitely got that kind of darkness there, and that kind of builds a good bridge between the piney resins, just that little bit of darker grapefruit. But as you go further through the flavour of the beer, you start to get a little bit of the tangerine notes. There's a good bit of mango coming out of this one as well. As I was saying, that will come from the Azacca hop, and you can, as you go further into the taste, that's when you get a little bit of the tangerine note from the Azacca, but you also get a little bit of that kind of pineapple flavour, which is coming from the Zythos hop as well. And I do like how it comes across, but into the aftertaste, it's really the pine resins and a little bit of that grapefruity note, and just a wee bit of the kind of bready and kind of caramelly notes coming out of it as well. It's a really nice beer, this one. It's well crafted, it's quite straight up. As I say, you can get ones in the States and things like that have a little bit more complexity in terms of the fruits and the malts and stuff like that. This one's a pretty straight up double IPA, but it has that bonus to it that it's well crafted and all the flavours kind of blend together really well. That slightly darker element from the fruits and the hops, the little bit of grapefruit, that blends well with these kind of pine resins. And I do like the way the malt base comes out in this one. It's got a little bit of breadiness, but then it's just got that slight boozy caramel to it. That's quite minimal, I would say, and it leans a little bit more towards the sweet kind of biscuity note. So it's, and the fruit complexities that come out of the beer a bit later is really interesting as well. So I have to say, Berliner Berg have done a really nice job with this one. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say that this beer is quite mid-bodied. It has that typical German smoothness to it. Yeah, it's definitely, as I've said in a couple of these videos now with the German beers, the Germans like their beer to be smooth. You do get a little bit of carbonation, and the smoothness that you get from these beers, it's carbonated, but at the same time it just has this very slightly creamy note to it. This one kind of replicates that as well, and you can really feel that. But the mouthfeel overall, I'd say there's a little bit of oily character to it. There's that wee touch of creaminess that I was meaning. The carbonation's quite soft in this one. There's a good bit of hoppy bitterness. Like I was saying, this is one of the more bitter beers that I've come across from Germany so far in this craft beer series that I've been doing for you. There's some nice juicy fruits, and there's a good little bit of the malty sweetness there as well. But overall, this is a really quite nice double IPA, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. I'd love to try it on tap and just see how it comes across. At 7.5% as well, you do get a little bit of an alcohol warmth from this one, so you could session one or two of these, and you know, the Germans probably do that, to be honest. They can fairly put their beer away, but it's a nice one, this, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. Just have one or two though, don't go too wild on it, because it will get you pretty messed up, but it's a damn good beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. So yeah, the double IPA from the Berliner Berg Brauerei in Berlin in Germany. This one I would particularly recommend to those who love a big kind of piney double IPA, and the fruity character on this one's a little bit different. So if you like oranges and you like pine and you like a little bit of mango as well, then this one's probably going to suit you down to the ground. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media as well. Make sure you check out my friend Peter over at the Clueless Drinker. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below, and let me know what your favourite beers are from Berliner Berg, and do let me know some of the other little craft brews around Berlin as well, and hopefully I can get back across there and try some of the beers from the Berlin scene as well, because I know there's some really good stuff up there. Freigas, Beer Kultur, and a few other things that Peter's mentioned to me as well. So thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Prost.